Hey guys, and you're welcome to Czechmyguns. My name is Karl, and today's video is gonna be about the legendary VZ58. But why? Why do we need another video on VZ58 when there are already hundreds online? Well, because I'm about to show you a version you've probably never seen before. So let's check it out. Well, look at that, VZ58 hunting rifle. This model is called KSK, don't be confused with SKS, and it was made by PPK company under brand Zbrojovka Holice, Holice Firearms Company. I'll be using both of these names, but they are essentially just one company, so don't be confused. Let's start from beginning. So PPK company means Puškarství Pavel Kupec, when Puškarství means gunsmithing and Pavel Kupec is the name of the gunsmith. And the company was established according to its catalog in the year 1997 and starting making their own guns in 1999. But the most important part happened after Zbrojovka Brno Firearms Company, went to bankruptcy in the year 2004, and a major of their stocks and equipment and also firearms collection was bought by PPK company. And the idea was that PPK company will continue the production of Zbrojovka Brno, mainly focused or only focused on hunting rifles. But what we have here is something completely different. We all know that VZ58 wasn't made in Brno Firearms Company, but in CZ Uherský Brod. So what happened is that they bought standard VZ58 rifles and modified them into this hunting rifle called KSK. KSK stands for Karabina Samonabíjecí Kupec, so semi-automatic carbine Kupec as the name of the gunsmith. Look at KSK and standard VZ58 in a detail to discuss the main differences. Obviously there is a new stock which is attached at the same spot as the original one. We have only the collapsible version here, but yeah, still it's the same spot. There's a different handguard in the front, which is longer, and also it's attached differently than the original one. Original one is attached by this piece of metal attached to the receiver. The KSK one has a screw from the bottom which screws into the metal cube which is welded on the barrel. If we look at the handguard, obviously there is one more difference, and that's the upper part of the handguard. With KSK it's missing the wood part, it's just metal cover of the piston, but it's essentially made out of the original VZ58 parts. If we look at the iron sights, they are generally the same, going to 800 meters in 100 meter increments. And in the front there are actually two different types, with butterfly wings and also full covered with a hole on top. But both of those are standard VZ58 iron sights. The main difference here is that the hunting one is missing the bayonet lock. And the idea behind that is that you just don't need it when you go for hunting. Many people might disagree, but I think the PPK company just didn't want their rifle to look as much military and more hunting style rifle, so that's why they got rid of it. If we look at the markings, I should probably mention that this VZ58 was made in a CZ company but already for civil market, so it's not full auto, it's just semi-automatic. It doesn't have the acceptance marks of Czechoslovakian military, and proving marks are only for civil market. The serial number is here on the bottom. It's called CZ858 Tactical V4, and here's the caliber and logo of CZ. But what's interesting for us is that we don't really know if this KSK was in military, because where usually the markings are, it was milled out and the new serial number was glued on. It was probably metal sheet with serial number glued on this place, and the owner unfortunately lost it, so we cannot really say anything about that. There's a caliber 7.62 by 39. Here's the logo of PPK made in Czech Republic. There's nothing else from this side. If we look from the other side, we see that there's nothing on VZ58, and on KSK there is model KSK semi-automatic. By the way, this extended bolt stop is aftermarket part. Originally it had the standard bolt stop as VZ58. Here we have a safety. This is semi-automatic position. This is safe, and here we have full auto. Obviously this rifle cannot shoot fully automatic, so it was just left it there as I don't know, option. And here we have 1 and safe. You cannot really push it forward, and instead of 30 there's another pin, so that's the difference. And now we can come to the main difference between the hunting version and standard VZ58. There is no pistol grip. The whole trigger system was moved back. There is a new trigger guard, and also the hole of the original trigger is covered with this metal sheet. But everything else generally is the same. It's still VZ58. It has all internal parts except the trigger system, and we will look at that in a second. So before we look at KSK trigger system, let's look at the standard VZ58. As I said before, this is a semi-automatic version, so it's slightly different, but it's the original trigger system just modified to be semi-automatic. So to disassemble it, we just push this pin, which is captive, through. We take out this cover with springs. This is the recoil spring and this is firing spring. So to understand how VZ58 works, we'll look inside the trigger system, and we see that there is no big hammer like with AR-15 or AK-47. Instead of a hammer, there is this striker part which is held on this trigger sear or edge, which holds it back, and this spring will push it forward when you press the trigger and hit the firing pin, and the rifle fires. So that's what you need to know about the trigger system. Obviously the trigger is here in the front and is pushing this sear down against this spring, and here in the back of the receiver is actually not much. It's kind of like empty place. And now if we look at KSK model, we take it apart the same way as VZ58. Just push it up, take this out with springs, and we see that obviously it works the same way. It holds this striker back, and when you press it, boom, it fires the gun. But instead of trigger being here, it's back here. And that's the main difference. If we look and compare it with the VZ58, it's absolutely different, totally different. And so now we know that the trigger system wasn't just adjusted. There was probably no way to make it reliable, and there was no point, so they made a brand new trigger. But if you look at this spring, it's still there. It was just adjusted. So they were really trying to leave as many function parts there as possible, but to move the trigger really way back into the receiver. I want to mention about the trigger on this rifle also that the trigger pull was adjusted according to Střelecká revue magazine, who tested the triggers on these rifles. Its trigger pull is 6 times shorter, but also quite stiff, so it's really hard to press. But yeah, probably better for hunting purposes than standard VZ58. The rifles were equipped with 2-round magazine, 5-round magazine or 10-round magazine, but as I mentioned before, this is generally standard VZ58, so you can still put 30-round magazine inside, which is pretty cool. No one really knows how many of these were made, but probably not many. It's still hard to find one for sale, people just don't like to get rid of it. But there won't be any more made, because PPK company was making them in between years 2013 and 2015, when they went also to bankruptcy. So this rifle became part of firearms history quite fast. Unfortunately, today we cannot take it to the range, but maybe next time. And now I want to thank my friend and owner of this gun for letting me show you how awesome this rifle is. And I also need to thank magazine Střelecká Revue for sending me their archive articles with information about these rifles, so I was able to tell you all this stuff. If you don't want to miss any other cool guns and you like this video, press like and subscribe, and we will see each other next time. Whoa!